This is SoIN. Thanks for joining us this morning. To start off, Brad C. has been wildly successful in business, but there was a time when whether he would live or not was a reality he faced daily. I recently sat down with Brad and his wife Ryan, where they shared their story of the power of perseverance and unrelenting hope. Brad and Ryan, before we get into what I think is a really inspirational part of your story, talk for a moment about Kentuckiana Mortgage, which I know you co-founded in 2018.
Yeah, 2018 with two business partners, Keith Collins and Eric Jones. We got together in the summer of 2018. We'd all been in the mortgage industry for quite some time, and we really just wanted to create a different client experience, try to make things easier. The home buying process is stressful as it is anyway, and so we wanted to make the mortgage process as easy as we possibly could make it.
Ryan, how do you fit into this?
So Brad and I work as a team with our clients, and then I also help with just the day-to-day operations of Kentuckiana Mortgage Group.
How do you make that work? Because I'm right there with you. There are a lot of us who work alongside family members, but husband and wife.
Yeah.
How do you make that?
Most days it works good.
Yeah, I think both of us have our strengths, and so a lot of times we try to just stay in our own lanes, but there is times where we need to collaborate and talk through whatever we're dealing with in that moment. But I think that works really well for us, and it's going on a little over 3 years now of us actually working together, and it's gone really well. And everybody has their days, right?
Sure.
But for the most part, it's pretty smooth.
4 years.
4 years.
4
Yeah.
years. So lost a year there.
Yeah.
Something that, though, is really important to you both and important as a company, Kentuckiana Mortgage supports a lot of community events, community endeavors, initiatives. Why is that important as part of your mission?
We just want to give back. All of us were born and raised in this community, and we want to do whatever we can to give back to, like you said, different charities or participate in whatever events and help in any way that we can, honestly.
How does that make things more fulfilling? Because there are some people who work to work, and then there are people who work with an intention of being able to give back.
Yeah, we say all the time, it's a lifestyle for us. It's not just a job. It has become who we are, not only as individuals, but as a family for our business and our children, our family. So it just brings more value to the things that you do in the day to day. We love seeing our clients at Kroger when we go shopping, and
And you set out to provide a different experience.
Exactly.
And when you see those clients and they're happy to see you, you've accomplished that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so when we started this, the goal was always to get downtown and be part of the redevelopment of downtown New Albany. And so bought our building down at 4th and Main and did some painting and a little renovation. And we just love being downtown and a part of that and walking to the different shops and restaurants and really just truly supporting local as much as we can.
Absolutely. And of course, we're referring to downtown New Albany. But let's back up from 2018, because 10 years before that, Brad, you had a harrowing, life-changing occurrence.
Yeah, so leading up to July 3rd of 2008, I had been fairly sick, very tired, night sweats. I checked all the cancer boxes. I just didn't know that I was checking all the boxes. Went to the doctor, sent me to the hospital, and then eventually had a CT scan done on my chest. And then that was when, July 3rd, when I was told that I had a tumor in my chest cavity the size of a grapefruit.
What did they call that?
At the time, they just said a mass that morning anyway, and that they were prepping me for emergency surgery to do a biopsy on the tumor to try to figure out what it was. And then a pericardial window on my heart. The tumor basically had my heart backed into a corner, and so it couldn't take full beats, so they needed to relieve the pressure on my heart to get it back functioning as it should.
And then what happened?
Ultimately, the diagnosis was mediastinal non-seminoma. They gave me 6 months to live, and I did not like that. And so I asked what we could do, and the answer was as much chemo as I was willing to do. And so that's the path we took.
So when you say as much chemo, what does that look like? And especially, and this is something I feel like everybody's been touched by cancer, but I am learning that's actually not the case. Very often you may know someone who knows someone, even though there are a lot of people who don't have family members, but they don't really know what does cancer look like. So explain what that means.
Yeah, so they let me recover for a couple days from my surgery, and then they started my first round of chemo while I was still in the hospital. And so it was a cisplatin-based chemotherapy, and it was 40 hours a week. So I would start in the morning at 8 a.m. to do chemo till 5, and then I would be on rest until the next morning. And so one round was a full week. They would give me a 2-week recovery period, and then I would start the next week.
And so you have these meds going in through your chemo port, pumping into your body, and what did that do to you?
Severe muscle atrophy, no appetite. I lost 50 pounds very, very quickly. Was very thin and frail. Energy levels were just gone. I've told a lot of people this, and this is the easiest way for me to describe it, is I couldn't go up a flight of steps without stopping and sitting down and taking a break before I was able to finish the second half.
At what point did you look at, okay, 6 months to live, or else I'm going through this hell? I don't know. Could I keep waiting?
There was only there was maybe a brief moment, but in my mind at the time, it was, I just got to do what I got to do.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter what that was. This is just, I just trying to keep telling myself, like, this is temporary. I'm going to get through it, and I just got to get through it. You just got to do what you got to do.
What did you use to boost yourself, or how did you do that? Because it can be very dark, and I think I now understand why some people spiral and stay down in that negativity.
So family support system and friends were absolutely instrumental. At the time, my mom had stopped working or took time away from work to spend. She was basically my full-time caregiver, taking me to and from chemo appointments, and then back and forth from the cancer care center to home every night. And then I had great friends come by all the time to sit with me, and the Summer Olympics were on in 2008 at the time, so I watched a lot of the Olympics and events that maybe I didn't really normally watch. One of my friends got brought me a Nintendo with Mario Kart. I got very good at Mario Kart, but I spent a lot of time on the couch just resting and trying to recover from each one of those rounds.
So you get through chemo, 400 hours of chemo, and then what happens next?
So my oncologist and surgeon at the time were nervous about continuing with a surgery to try to take the tumor out. My cancer markers had been basically non-existent, and so they're like, let's just leave it as is, as a dead mass in there, and we're just going to monitor it and do blood work. It was every other week. So they were monitoring, doing blood work every other week, and it didn't show itself again until about 2 months later, would have been the first or second week of February of 2009. And my cancer markers spiked again. And at that point, it was, as much chemo as you've done, more chemo is not gonna do it. So our option is get comfortable, or we go in and try to cut it all out.
And so you chose
to cut it out. So it was, that was a tough decision, because nobody wants to go in for surgery, especially, in a situation like that where you're volunteering to do it, a major surgery that doesn't have a guarantee of waking up from. That was challenging. So, amazing surgeon, explained everything to me very thoroughly in my family. And I would say the most challenging day through all of that was the morning of surgery, because my family, waking up wasn't guaranteed. So family one by one coming in pre-op and saying goodbye, essentially, in case the surgery did not go well.
Do you carry that still?
A little bit. We're 15. Monday's going to be 15 years, right? And so there are days where I remember, and, we've had some family and friends recently diagnosed or deal with it, and it brings back all those memories and all those emotions. But I will say that there's times where I'll go a month or two and just living my daily life with the kids and work and everything's going on, and I kind of lose sight of it, and then something will bring me back.
When it brings you back, because and the truth is, anybody can all of a sudden have this life-changing, awful, insidious disease in whatever way it manifests. But when it brings you back and you look at that anniversary and you look at how far you've come and you look at the things that you've accomplished and you look at this family that you've created, what has cancer, and I hate giving it this credence because I hate cancer, but what has going through that experience brought to your life that you just want to make sure you hold on to?
It's given me a certain drive in life, I think. And I try to be very dedicated and driven and present in everything that I'm doing, because when I was diagnosed, we had a volleyball match that night. We were going away for 4th of July weekend. I had golf clubs, wakeboard, everything in my car loaded up for the weekend. And then that weekend was taken away from me. And I was so mad that weekend was taken away from me. And I did not realize how much I was so frustrated in that moment. And now it reminds me that that's never guaranteed. And so I try to reel myself in and just live like I'm gonna live now.
You said something to me before we sat down. You were living like you were dying, but what does that mean, to live like you're going to live?
I had to change my mindset at one point. Once having kids and being married and having a company and all these responsibilities, I needed to switch my thinking to planning better. For me, it was financially. When you're told you have 6 months to live, you do, hey, you want to go on this trip? Hey, you want to do this? And you say yes to everything. And I needed to start saying no to more things and planning better instead of living on the edge, I guess.
Brian, what is that like for you, for someone to have, literally looked death in the face, said, not today, I'm going for it. There's no guarantee I'm gonna wake up, but that's my best alternative. I'm going to choose it. And then years later, the two of you meet, you know it, within 100 days of being engaged, you're married, you've got this beautiful family. And now, how does that experience that Brad went through now inform how you are together?
Man, he's great. He's a lot sometimes. It's been, it's just heartwarming how he's taken everything in stride. And we talked about this the other day, like Rory, our daughter's just turned 7. So she's just now starting to understand, what it means to be sick. And we've started to just explain to her, like, yeah, Daddy used to be really sick. And now we do, as a family, take as many opportunities as we can to spend time together, whether that's afar and doing fun things or just sitting at the dinner table and enjoying each other's company in the evening. Brad definitely still loves to travel, so that keeps me busy, keeping things, holding the fort down sometimes. But yeah, it's put a different perspective on life for me as well.
When it comes to just looking at your whole story, which of course isn't finished, you write new pages every single day. Take what you've learned, Brad, with dealing with cancer, and how has that affected you as a business owner? How does that make you even a better business owner?
I'm going to interrupt Brad here.
Okay.
And say, from an outside perspective, even before I became licensed and joined Brad, he takes every single day to make sure that he is the absolute best he can be for everyone else. And surely that has come from this experience. His clients know it, our family knows it, I see it every day. He is his hardest critic, and he is so good at what he does.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Those kind words. Wow, I did not expect you to do that. So for me, like she said, I really just try to put everything into what I'm doing and in that moment. And I want to be as good as she says I am. I feel like I'm still learning, and I don't ever feel like I've made it. And I think that's part of the reason of my success is I'm constantly trying to get better in what I do in my craft, and be there for other people as much as I possibly can and help people through the process, because it's not always a fun thing getting a mortgage. Nobody wants a mortgage. The point is to not have to use us, but if you need, call us. Right. But yeah, so it's, I want everybody, and like we talked about earlier, just the community involvement, and I just try to do everything I possibly can to be the best version of myself. Because at one point in my early 20s, I maybe wasn't.
Sure.
Yeah.
You said earlier that your partners, you all are from the area, Southern Indiana. So both of you can take turns, answer this. What is it about Southern Indiana?
My favorite thing about Southern Indiana is we have the big city feel with Louisville just right across the river, but we also have a very small community feel at the same time. And I'm sure that other places around the country have that same thing, but that's special to me. I like having that big but small feel at the same time.
What about for you, Ryan?
I agree. I lived in Bloomington for 6 years, and I loved it. It was great, but it's not home. There's something about, going to get your groceries and seeing one of your neighbors there and just feeling loved by your community. And I think that New Albany and Southern Indiana in general does a really good job at doing that, making everybody feel like they are where they need to be.
Absolutely. Now, Brad, last question. You said that you celebrate a big milestone on Monday of sitting down and talking, and that is the 15th?
15 years.
Cancer-free.
Yeah.
What do the next 15 years look like for you?
The kids, that's the next 15 years, I keep doing what we're doing with Kentuckiana Mortgage Group, keep staying involved in the community. We are very involved with the IU Cancer Center in Indianapolis. That's where my treatment and where my oncologist was. And then, like I said, the kids, I think, is the next 15 years for us, because they're the most important things that we got going right now.
Business partners Leslie Lewis Sheets and Tammy Randall make things beautiful for a living, and they love it. We took a gorgeous look at what that means for Southern Indiana.
I'm here with Leslie and Tammy today of LL&A Interior Design. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited to talk to you both. So first of all, tell us exactly where we're at right now and what you're doing here.
Thank you for having us, Jen. Today we're at the Ellsby building, which is in the process of becoming the Ellsby Hotel.
So exciting.
We're in the what is going to be the restaurant, and we are right in front of the vault, which is a neat aspect about the entire building.
That's a lot of people, we were talking earlier, and a lot of folks think interior design is just making things look good, but it is so much deeper than that. What is your favorite part about what you do?
Making something out of nothing and making a space better than it was before we arrived, and a highly functioning, aesthetically pleasing space. And we do believe that you can have both. We believe that you can cross and mash up and have highly functioning spaces and beautifully well choreographed spaces as well.
Leslie, what would you say is your favorite part?
I think the opportunity to work with all individuals within their homes or offices, and getting to know the clients, and every project's different, and just learning the different aspects of every project. We continue to learn something new each and every day, whether or not we are prepared or want to. It's a business of lifelong learning. So each day is different, each project is different. It continues to evolve, and I think that's just the enjoyment that I get out of it, is seeing, it makes it all worthwhile, seeing the project complete and the client is happy, whether it's in their new home or new office.
That's so exciting. So a lot of folks that are wanting to like freshen up their space, and we get a little nervous when we think of interior design. We're like, I don't know enough, or I don't know what looks good together. So first, do you see any trends that are happening currently with, I mean, do you tend to follow trends? And if so, what are they right now when it comes to design in a home space? What would you say?
Well, new colors right now are peach and chocolate browns, which are kind of circling back. Yes.
Okay.
What other top trends? We are mindful of the trends, but try and not have our designs be too trendy.
That's
more of
good
a
to know.
classic element, timeless. So we're mindful of that.
And if you're going to tie in a trend, tie it in a very small, minute way.
Okay.
Trendy lamps, trendy pillows, trendy rugs, things that you can cycle out of a space and not be regretful of an investment that you might have put into it.
If folks want to see more of your work, where should they go?
To our website.
Our website.
Yes. Leslie Lewis and Associates.
Okay. Leslie
Yes.
Lewis and Associates. Perfect. Well, ladies,
Yeah.
thank you so much
Thank
for today.
you. Thank you, Jen. Thank
Well,
you.
it's been a pleasure, and this is exciting. No, thank you for having us, and I can't wait to see what this looks like at the end. So
Thank you.
Thanks.
New Washington is home to one of the most touted restaurants in the region, so we sent the dish host Dan Farmer to check it out.
When I hear the word fried twice, it only makes me want to dig in even more. I'm Dan Farmer, and I'm here at the 1894 Lodge in New Washington, Indiana, where family and community meets food. These guys have put New Washington, Indiana on the culinary map in Southern Indiana. We're so excited to be filming here today, and I'm here with your owner and proprietor, Logan Hostetler. We're putting together a couple dishes to try today.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about what we're cooking. It's
So-
already smelling really good in here.
Yeah, if you guys ever see our menu, right now we've got a tomahawk going. So just getting some good grill marks on that. Our beautiful tomahawk steaks that we got here.
Yes, sir.
Certified Angus beef brand. There we go. They're about 32 ounces. We'll do this with some vegetables or some type of potato. You will get some sauce with it. We'll make it nice, pretty. Slice it up, put it on a board, and you're not going to get any better cuts of beef, I think, anywhere else than here. We really pride ourselves in our beef.
That's a big piece of steak.
Oh yeah.
Now, what temperature have you cooked that to
So
today,
hopefully
Logan?
it's about a medium rare.
Medium rare.
but
Speaking my
usually
language.
We have a little bit more time to do it, so we're gonna let that rest. We're gonna let Dan eat some food, and we're gonna be ready to rock and roll.
All right, we are excited. Thank you so much, guys. This looks fabulous. It's steak time, ladies and gentlemen. This is a 32-ounce tomahawk, cooked perfectly medium rare, seared on the outside, and a red wine glaze, a reduction over the top. Oh, we're going right in here. Angie Fenton is going to be really upset that I'm taking this big of a bite, but I can't control myself here. It's luscious. Wow. You're not putting A1 on this steak, let me tell you. Perfectly cooked. That sear on the outside of the steak is unbelievable. It makes me want to pick up this tomahawk bone like it's a lollipop and just chew off the side of it. Wow, I cannot get enough. We've got our greens here on the side, made in-house. One of the many delicious accompaniments here at the 1894 Lodge. I'm sorry guys, I gotta get back in on this steak. I don't want to take up any more of your time, and I don't want you to take up any more of mine while I'm eating this. Make a reservation. Come to New Washington, Indiana. The 1894 Lodge is where it's at. I'm telling you, the food is amazing. The ambiance is wonderful. The service is even top tier. Logan, thank you so much for having us today. We will see you next time at Extol Eats. Thank you.
Thankfully, Dan shared some of the deliciousness that Logan cooked up, and as a self-proclaimed fan of beef, I can say this with all seriousness. That tomahawk Logan served up was hands down best steak I've ever eaten. Now, we are so into so many things, including what's happening at our area schools. DC Develop CEO Josh Hillman recently invited us to capture how Charlestown High School students are having a lasting impact on their community thanks to engineering.
Every year we try to work on a project-based learning, and so for our engineering academy, we partnered with Mr. Hillman and Dan Christiani and tried to develop Shadow Lake, and we put these kids on a project.
My goal is to create a Charlestown that is safe, green, and active, especially for our residential area up here.
You all did an awesome job. So my challenge to you all as Engineering Academy students, don't rule something out, learn a little more, and think about what you want to do when you leave Charlestown High School. Each and every one of you has that opportunity to be an engineer, and you've proven here that you can spend time, you can learn something, you can adapt it, and you can grow.
Brave. Sometimes you can feel scared, but if you just do it, it's actually really brave and you feel really good.
Thanks for joining us. However you spend the rest of your time today, we hope you're so into it.